system are demons. And people who sacrifice to idols, while they are not sacrificing to the God they think they're sacrificing to, they are sacrificing to demons. Now, this is something we have to keep in mind. I want to give you the picture as clearly as I can. There is no form of religion, there is no information in the world that speaks to the issues of time and eternity and salvation that is benign. It is either the power of the truth of God or the power of satanic lies. You can't ever make an easy truce with error because it is not static, it is not inert. It is energized by the forces of hell. Paul says an idol has no reality. They may think this is the goddess Diana, or they may think they're worshiping some other god. That God does not exist, but demons do exist who have concocted this worship as an assault on the truth of God to capture men's souls in a fortress that becomes their prison and ultimately their tomb. Anything other than the truth, any ideology, any philosophy, any theory, any viewpoint, any religion other than the truth is demonic. This is not just New Testament teaching. Back in the Old Testament, you go back all the way to the law of Moses, the Pentateuch, just a couple of verses that I think are interesting. In the 17th chapter of Leviticus, the third book in the Bible, it says, Leviticus 17:7, they shall no longer sacrifice their sacrifices to the goat demons with which they play the harlot. Creating a goat god didn't make that goat a god. All it did was give opportunity for demons to be worshiped. They are indicted by the Lord here for being engaged in the worship of a goat god, which was essentially worshiping, playing the harlot with demons. In Deuteronomy chapter 32, which is a pretty long chapter, just looking at verse 17, and it says essentially the same thing. Talks about Israel again. Israel, verse 15, forsook God, scorned the rock of his salvation, made him jealous with strange gods. But verse 17 says, they sacrificed to demons who were not God and forgot the God who gave them birth. They sacrificed to demons who were not God. Psalm 106:37 essentially says much the same thing. So any form of religion other than the truth is a demonic operation. Demonic. Can you be specific? Well, you know, any world religion, Buddhism, Hinduism, Islam, you name it. Any religion of any animistic tribe anywhere. Any form of pseudo-Christianity, Jehovah's Witnesses, Mormons, Christian Science, you name it, Roman Catholicism, that's demonic operation. That's a demonic system because it's either from the Spirit of God or demons. There's no middle ground. In the book of Revelation, I think we see a rather graphic illustration of that. Turn to the 16th chapter of Revelation. And down in verse 13, this looks ahead at the time of the tribulation that comes upon the earth. During that period of tribulation, just before the Lord comes to set up his kingdom, John says in one of his visions, I saw coming out of the mouth, verse 13, of the dragon, that is the dragon symbolic of Satan, coming up and out of Satan, and out of the mouth of the beast, who is the Antichrist, and the mouth of the false prophet, who is the cohort of the Antichrist. 3 unclean spirits like frogs. This is vivid imagery. Frogs are viewed as slimy, subterranean creatures, sort of symbolic of demons. And in this vivid vision, John sees the dragon, who is Satan, He sees the beast who is the Antichrist, the false prophet who is the cohort of the Antichrist, and up out of the mouth of these three come these slimy subterranean frog spirits. It's just a way to speak of them with disdain. And verse 14 says they are spirits of demons. Performing signs, they go out to the kings of the whole world to gather them together for the war of the great day of God the Almighty. It is going to be in the end of the age that demons come out, seduce the world to come and make war against God. And that war, of course, as you know, according to verse 16, will be in a place in the Hebrew called Armageddon. Armageddon, the final conflict, the great end Holocaust where Jesus comes back and wins the great victory, the great battle of Armageddon, will be a battle that is generated by demon powers, literally coming out of the mouth, as it were, of Satan, the Antichrist, and the false prophet. They are frog-like unclean spirits, deceiving demons who delude and seduce the world into taking an insane act, an insane suicide march to Israel to stop Christ from setting up his kingdom. And we know what happens, don't we? Revelation 19 says Christ comes down, destroys them all. But Armageddon, the folly and the idiocy of Armageddon will be a result of the seduction of demon spirits. Satan and his demons, in the meantime, use many different approaches. Many different approaches. Sometimes atheism, sometimes agnosticism, sometimes polytheism, cults, idols, perversions of Christianity, whatever the form. These are the deceptions of the devil. And he will adjust and suit those deceptions to the environment of anybody. If you grow up in a country familiar with Christianity, he'll expose you to perverted forms of Christianity. If you grow up in another country not exposed to Christianity, he will seduce you by whatever religion dominates that place. These are what Scripture calls damnable heresies. In fact, the words of Peter are so important. Let me read to you 2 Peter 2:1. False prophets also arose among the people, just as there will also be false teachers among you who will secretly introduce damnable heresies or destructive heresies, heresies that damn people. And verse 2 says, many will follow their sensuality. Because of them, the way of the truth will be maligned. Now there you have, folks, the strategy. You bring damning heresy, and you attack the way of the truth. I mean, this is the battle. This is why Paul says the church has to be the pillar and ground of the truth. Demonic deception leaves no Christian doctrine unattacked. If you want to espouse the authority of Scripture, hypocritical liars representing seducing spirits and doctrines of demons will come and attack the authority of Scripture, attack its inerrancy, attack its inspiration, or attack its true interpretation. If you affirm the virgin birth of Jesus Christ, along will come some seducing spirits through their human instruments and attack the virgin birth. If you espouse the sinless life of Jesus Christ,